actually comes from Article 21. Because we fundamentally believe, and that's the Indian conception of the world, is environment, protection of environment is not about sustainability, only about sustainability. It is about, it is linked directly to your right to life. And if you see some of the most challenging questions that the Supreme Court has dealt with on environment is actually linked to right to life. Because that's how Indians, we can have a very complicated problem, but culturally, when you deal with a problem, you deal with it with the conceptions which exist in your head. I doubt a Western jurisprudence, a Western country would ever deal with linking your relationship between man and environment merely on right to life. But we do that because that's how we culturally deal with it, and that's the beginning of our jurisprudence. I'll just rush through towards the end because I think we are in a tearing hurry. Some of the biggest cases, and this is what I'm saying, there are two sets of cases even on this. One is Sachidanand Pandey, which you would have all heard of. Sachidanand Pandey deals with 48A and 51AG, that's the first case, but Sachidanand Pandey deals with it in some sort of westernized argument. But on the other hand, Damodar Rao, in the same year, actually sort of equates environment as being part of right to life. So both, you can see this dichotomy running through Indian jurisprudence. You can see in the second set of important cases, it's very important for us to sort of recollect is the twin cases of Oleum Leak case, where the wonderful principle, polluters pay, all these wonderful principles were enunciated, and the disaster of the Charan Lal Sahu case, so the Bhopal gas disaster case. If there is, and I say the responsibility, and I say this as a student of law, if there's an example of the backsliding which can happen to environmental disaster by the Supreme Court of India, that happens in Charan Lal Sahu, where amount is fixed and the damage is back calculated for every human being. And what happens, I don't want to go into that. It's just unbelievable. So the disaster, and wonderful, and I think all of us know the history of Oleum Leak case, that it was pronounced so that people could rely in Charan Lal Sahu, in Bhopal, in anticipation of the Bhopal would come. So people pronounced Oleum Leak case so that they could use the principles of Oleum Leak case in Bhopal. And when Bhopal came, actually, the Supreme Court gave up its responsibility. I think we would have been in a much better place if the Supreme Court took a stand on Bhopal. There are a lot of people in the court who would want us to forget what happened. But whenever people talk about environment, I think especially at the Supreme Court, we should remind them of what the Supreme Court did in Bhopal. Third, I think the rural litigation and entitlement Indra, which talked about sustainable development, that's also an extremely important case for us to consider. And of course, the MC Mehta matters, both on Taj Trapesium, which dealt with air pollution, and the tanneries case, which dealt with water pollution, which I think was, in many ways, is the basis of the revolution which we had in environmental protection, which we see today. When I was a little boy at the age of 18, and from the time I was in Calcutta, I used to work with a very active environmental group called People United for Better Living in Calcutta, which was responsible for protection of the wetlands in Calcutta. So anyone who's gone to Calcutta, there are huge wetlands outside Calcutta, which has been protected by an order of a single judge of the Calcutta High Court and still remains protected because some of the best lawyers of the bar have appeared to protect that order. And they've done it against extreme difficulty because it's absolutely the prime location right beside Rajarhat, on which the most development in Calcutta is happening, and which there has been huge amount of real estate interest to continue development projects there. But the only reason they have managed to protect it is because people and the best lawyers, and lawyers who wouldn't move an inch or move a pen without, I'm surprised as to how they do it. But they've always managed and appeared in those matters and ensured that single order of the single judge. Justice Umesh Banerjee who later came to the Supreme Court, does not get vacated. So I understand that was the part of the movement that happened. The first order came in 1989. So this is that time when all these sort of environmental jurisprudence arose. And last, of course, the Buddha matters, which talked about protection of forests and which brought about the entire forest regime, which we are all grateful for. And I will say that there are a large number of cases. I don't want to go into that. This is, I think, the broad sort of things. But in conclusion, I would say this, that we've nearly come to the end of modernism. And modernism, which the West has benefited from, is a model which has relied on relentless exploitation of the environment and of men. The model is based on mass exploitation. It is a model, as Professor Sinha very politely put, I'm putting very expressively, is based on maximum consumption. As one of my cousins always used to say, that it's like having Christmas every day, and which I think your today's internet age maximizes. If you want a wonderful jacket, you can get a wonderful jacket. If you wanted a wonderful jacket from Britain, a Harris tweed from Britain, if you have the money, you can get it. Let alone the money. Think about the environmental impact and cost of getting a jacket from one corner of the world to another. The carbon footprint, but you can get it. It exploits. It believes in factories. It believes in oil, exploitation of oil, and it just generally believes in exploitation of everyone. You see disasters happen in Africa. However, and this is how I would end it, as Professor Sinha indicated, he put it differently as a conception of environmental rule of law. But I would like to put it this way, that we have an opportunity, because as the globalization, modernization model, which was held to be universal, comes to an end, they're possible because of the use of technology now available, is to create another world. Another world which won't be perfect. Nothing in the world is perfect. No model is perfect. No humans are perfect. But a world which is based on ahimsa, and a world which is based on Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, not in the way we use it usually in shorthand, that is wonderful neighbors and the world is one neighbor, but actually the world is our neighbor. And I say not only sentient things, that is beings which have life, but insentient things as they are. The resources, the earth, the plants, which are sentient beings, the minerals on the earth. And don't look at them only as things to exploit it, but things which are linked with us, and through which, as the Bhagavad Gita says, and that's a question of jurisprudence, there is a law which connects them all, a Rita which connects them all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for very informative and enlightening session about the topic and discussing about the role and duty of the judiciary. Sir has also